Personal injury protection is a required coverage for car insurance in Michigan. It basically covers any medical expenses while you're in the hospital, depending on the level of personal injury protection you picked. Also, depending on the level that you pick there, it will cover or not cover any after hospital. So you can really focus on recovering, not so much the bills that you have from the medical. So there's 5, technically 6 levels of personal injury protection. We'll go into those in a little bit further, but let's give some examples. If you get into a car accident in Michigan and you're a resident of Michigan, you technically have some coverage. It's not really PIP, the personal injury protection. It's called the MCCA, the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association. And what that does is that automatically covers all of the citizens in Michigan if you're in a car accident for up to $250,000. Now, the problem that you're going to run into is you can't supersede that into having car insurance. So if you purchase car insurance, that's the minimum level that you have to purchase. Even though I get car insurance, I still have to pay for that $250 level because the state of Michigan isn't going to give that for free. Technically, what's happening is the people that have what's called unlimited PIP, they are technically paying that MCCA fee, and when you leave that unlimited PIP, you lose that fee because now there's not a reason to charge those fees. You're paying for the actual medical, not just the medical as a whole. Most people chose unlimited, and I'll go into a little bit further in depth in that and why most people went with unlimited. First, let's go into an example of why you would even need to have it. Why can't I just keep the $250 that the state requires versus the $250 I have to purchase when I have a car? When you have a car, you're insuring people in your vehicle. But let's say you're in someone else's vehicle. If you have a family member that's under the age of 16, they're not licensed, they're not on your policy, they're technically not covered anywhere. We'll explain that in a second too. But if they're driving in someone else's car, they're in their friends, they're going to a soccer game, and they're in Joe or Bill's or Sue's or whoever's car and they get hurt. Instead of your insurance having to pick it up, if you don't have car insurance, the state has required that they have some sort of coverage. So if they get injured, they have that $250,000 medical that helps them no matter what. That's regardless of whether you have car insurance. Also, if you choose a lower level and for some reason you lose your job or something changes and the medical switches and you forget all about it or you don't do anything with it, you want to have some sort of coverage for yourself. I get it, it gets a little bit confusing because there are those 6 levels and then there's also these things called exclusions. But the main thing that people think of is most people do the unlimited. And the reason being is partially because some agents just don't know the difference. It doesn't mean everybody should do unlimited, but most people would want to. In those events where you do not have an idea or you're not on Medicare or Medicaid or any of those situations and you want the best option, that a limited package is going to give you the most coverage. Like we mentioned earlier, what was the pieces that it's missing? So when you go outside of the unlimited, you don't pay that MCCA fee because part of it is being broken into pieces. So now you're taking a package and just saying, I just want these little pieces of it. The first piece is the medical portion where you're in the hospital. You're getting a surgery, it's because of an accident, you're hurt, whatever the case is, you've got that medical coverage on there. If you go outside unlimited, you can pick those different levels of what you want covered. The second piece is that attending care, as they call it on the policy. That's for long-term care. If you get injured, if you go below that unlimited, you remove that and you leave that attending care in that box. So you've taken out the other piece on its own. And some companies will let you add it back in. Instead of saying, well, I want unlimited and I want everything maxed out, you can say, well, I only want $500,000 for myself because I don't think I'm going to get injured beyond that. It's possible, but it's a 3% chance right now, right? And that's what you've calculated. So now you've got that number and you say, well, I do want some care. So if I do get hurt and I have to go through rehabilitation, I don't want to pay that out of pocket. So I'm going to take $100,000 and put that into this bucket. Some companies don't let you go that high. Some are $10,000, others are $80,000, and some are $100,000. So it depends on the company that you're looking at as far as the levels of that attending care. That's the main reason most people pick that unlimited plan is because that attending care, they want that maxed out as well. That's probably the most important piece of the whole thing. It's kind of like buying a new camera and you didn't buy a memory card, right? So you don't have all the pieces put together. Other people may have their own medical through work or through some sort of paid piece that they have. And the nice part about that is there's also a coordination option. So if you have medical and that already pays your medical and you get a letter from them that says, yes, I will pay their medical if they get injured in a car accident. Now you can coordinate that where you can still pick any of those levels, but now you get the option of saying who pays first. Instead of your car insurance paying first, which costs you more money, then you can say, I want my medical to pay first, and then a backup would be my car insurance. In that case, that will lower the cost of what you're paying. Regardless of the level that you pick, that could be an option with your own personal medical. The pieces that you should be a little bit weary about doing this route is if you focus on your own personal medical, let's just say it's a bad year and you have 3 accidents and you have some sort of injury in all 3 of those accidents. For your personal medical, you likely have some sort of a deductible. So you're going to pay out of pocket that $1,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 deductible just to have one claim. So now you're paying $5,000, and $15,000 for that year, where in this situation, you probably didn't pay anything. You can add deductibles to this, to the actual personal injury protection, but commonly it doesn't make a major difference. Usually $500 is common if you do any type of deductible. In that case, I would talk to your agent and get a little bit more specific and have them play with some of those numbers, because sometimes with some people, it doesn't make any difference. And other times it does make a small difference. It's just honestly a trial and error piece based on the risk of the profile of the person. Which level of personal injury protection should you go with? What I would recommend is learning the 6 different levels that they have and determining which one is the best fit. There are some pieces that you have to know when you are doing that coordination. There are some rules and barriers that won't allow you to choose a lower PIP. So in this case, what I would recommend is you watch the full 101 on personal injury protection. Those will go over the actual main levels of the actual personal injury protection coverage in Michigan. Otherwise, if you're just new to insurance and trying to learn the whole insurance world, check out our Insurance 101, where it'll go a lot more in depth on the actual coverage and what the laws of Michigan have for car insurance. I'm Mark with Valor Insurance. We'll see you soon.